Hello there, girls and boys, and welcome back to the show where we talk about music that doesn't suck. I simply just forgot the name.
Welcome back here.
Or we're back here. No, but actually, yeah, welcome back to the show, girls and boys. This is the show where we talk about music that doesn't suck. And today's topic, can you introduce us to it?
Okay, so hello, girls and boys. How's it going?
It's Tony and Brave, like I've said for them to be beautiful.
Yes, very glad to be back, and it's great to have you here as well. Today, we're going to be talking about bands that, for one reason or another, changed their sound or their compositional style, changed something about what they did with time.
Yeah.
And want to get the ball rolling? Do you already have something in mind?
No, well, first let me introduce you to today's concoction.
Yeah, today's mix. So,
as usual, we're drinking and having these musical discussions because, well, makes total sense, of course, doing it online.
And it's Friday.
Yeah, and it's Friday. Today's mix is actually gin and tonic. One of the most obvious, most traditional, most never changing drinks ever. Now you see why I picked them.
Mm-hmm.
Because this is actually the antithesis to what we're going to be discussing. And just for you to know, this concoction, this mix in particular, it's a very good one. I like it a lot. It has 2 ounces of gin, 4 ounces of tonic water. But I don't know if it's visible on the camera. But
maybe here
has,
I can show.
2 pieces of Jamaican pepper.
Yeah, I don't know if they can see it, but
Yeah.
well, trust me, bro.
Yeah, it actually affects the flavor quite beautifully. So, sometimes.
Oh, salud.
Damn it.
Yeah, it is.
It's very good.
And it's actually a very simple drink, but it always delivers.
It always delivers. But the trick is in the spice.
Yeah.
Because adding those spices makes a huge difference.
Yeah, because the basic drink without the spices is very neutral in flavor.
Yeah.
So that addition makes the whole difference.
Yes. So get a good gin. That's good to this. Get a good gin. So bands that change with time. The first one that comes to mind. But well, before we even introduce any of the bands, let's define what do we mean by saying that they change with time.
Okay.
They change like the wind.
I think that's a reference that already leads us to the first band that we talked about.
Yeah, but could you define the whole concept of changing with time? What do you mean by that?
Look, bands have an essence, for the lack of a better word. Like whenever you think, let's say a band, just out of the top of my mind, nothing related to this topic. Scorpions.
Yeah.
Scorpions is a band that is mostly known for their high energy, hard hitting, hard rock kind of slash metal.
Like loving you like a hurricane.
Like a rock you like a hurricane.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because they still love you.
They still love you. Okay, I'm gonna skip by that.
Yeah.
But yes, I think that they're mostly known by that. So I could call that kind of sound the essence of the band. That's what they most likely are to be associated to.
That's what you say when you know that they actually had a huge history of playing quasi-prog rock.
Yes.
Very similar to Rainbow. Their sound is quite similar to Rainbow.
Yeah.
And they come from the same era, actually.
Yeah.
And their music is very influenced by one another.
Mm-hmm.
But somehow, in the 80s, they changed.
Yeah.
Was that for good or for bad?
I think in the case of Scorpions, even though I particularly like their more proggy stuff, because their first album, I think, was Crows something.
Yeah, I can't remember.
Crows, whatever. There's a song that for me is the best example of this. I think it's called In Search of Peace of Mind. It's a good song.
It is.
And it's super proggy.
Yeah.
It's something that is closer to, let's say, Genesis than
Yeah.
it is to, for instance,
Whitesnake,
which is most of the Scorpions' later career.
Yeah.
And I like that sound. But honestly, I found that Scorpion found themselves, and I think they nailed their sound when they started doing the hard hitting kind of stuff.
The thing is that you're not answering my question. You haven't defined what do you mean by changing with time.
It changed because they could
Ignore
be.
Scorpions. Talk about the concept of change.
Okay, I think a band that has, because of their earlier work, a defined sound to them, something that you can think of them and think, oh yeah, they sound like this.
Yes.
And suddenly they don't sound like this anymore.
Yeah. The question is why
Okay.
and how, and if it's for the best or for the bad, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the worst. So the Scorpions. Let's use that as segue.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they changed
Mm-hmm.
dramatically, and I think they changed some may say that they finally achieved their final form, because their music, their earlier stuff, even though it's more on my alley, being proggier and a little bit more atmospheric and a little bit more substance infused, it has the balls and the power of Larry Scorpions.
Not the same.
Not the same.
Yeah.
It's not the same. You can hear it. You can hear it, but it's not as damn. And when they morphed into what made them ultra famous and very, very quintessential 80s everything,
Yeah.
they actually stuck to what was the heaviest stuff, or the not simpler, because simple is not a bad word, but it's not what I meant. The less complex is a better way to describe it, aspects of their music, and they capitalized on the stuff that worked, and also energetic. Basically speaking, they trimmed the fat to a certain degree.
Yeah, it's more no bullshit.
Yeah, no bullshit.
Yeah.
But in a way that is not destroying the quality of the music. I know that there are purists, and I can get you, that you prefer the sound of the band before they went mainstream, and I can see why, because it has a huge appeal. I've been listening to the old Scorpions records for the last 2 weeks now.
Yeah.
Why? They are awesome,
Yeah.
and also because as a production nerd myself, it's super interesting to see how clever the production is, because the band has always had, historically speaking, two guitar players. So instead of having double guitars to make them feel thicker, they actually record one guitar on one side and the other guitar on the other side. And that's it.
Yeah.
Because they did it the way the band actually played the songs live. And it's a sound, it's something I like. Because it has that, not gonna use the word retro sound, because it's not retro. It sounds like this late 60s, early 70s. That sound.
Yeah.
Because it's not oldies. I don't know if it makes sense to you.
Well, we would be seen as oldies now.
No, but it sounds. But it's the kind of stuff that bands like Crobot tries to mimic in the current time.
Yeah.
Or
Even Porcupine Tree as well.
even Porcupine Tree to a certain degree, man. Yeah. So I when I was listening to that, I was like, that's a good technique that we should bring back, man. I like it. I like it. But the sound is very different.
It is.
Because it's not rugged like a hurricane.
No, and look, in the case of Scorpions, I wouldn't necessarily frame the change as good or bad. I personally feel more attached to their later stuff. The way I see it, even though I appreciate their earlier albums as well, I find that the sound of Scorpions and the way that I think of Scorpions is the later hard-hitting, no bullshit stuff.
Yes.
That's the way I see Scorpions. And I feel that even though I appreciate, for let's say the first album, it feels like, even though that's the first, and you could be seen as the Scorpion true, I feel that that's the one that is kind of exceptional in sound.
Yeah.
And in aesthetics.
The aesthetics, yeah, because that actually, the things that I don't know if it's because we look at this from 2025 rather than being there, done that when it was a thing. Because for us, Scorpions, the one that most of us met, was the 80s version, which is the one that became huge. But it might have been one of those guys who were there when this thing was starting to catch momentum, and the band suddenly changes, and it becomes way more successful than ever, but in a way that it's not in accord to what you decided to become a fan of.
Yeah, I get you.
I don't know how could it be interpreted by someone like that.
Yeah, the point in time does make a difference on this regard, because now, because I'm a late stage Scorpions fan for obvious reasons. I wasn't there when they got started.
Yeah.
But now, looking back, they have way more material written under the new style than they have what with the sound that they began with. I think they have maybe just a couple of albums, like 2 or 3 maximum.
I think it's 4. No, I think it's 3. It's just 3.
I think it's 3. And they have a quite extensive body of work, and most of it is following these new aesthetics. So when you look back on it now,
is it really new?
No, but it makes sense to think Scorpions as the hard-hitting, no bullshit band, because they have way more work that follows that line.
Agreed. But it's very, very important to remember that the perspective from which we are looking at something truly changes the whole paradigm. And in here, bands that changes with time, that's something that has to be a given. It's important because your sound will. It's not that your sound goes stale. That's the reason why people keeps listening to the same old albums since forever, and forever will be doing it as well. It's more about the artist has to evolve because life itself, it's in constant evolution. It's always moving forward, and it's always developing the new chapter. And those chapters in our lives are what inspires a musician, in this case, to write the next piece. Without those lived experiences, the artist won't be able to come up with something to tell through the use of music, right? So, with that in mind, it has to be expected that the band changes. But there is a certain point on which this is too much. They jump the shark. For example, Yes.
Yes. 100%.
Could you introduce why?
I
don't even want.
What's the name of that album?
That album is not mentioned in my present. It's the gray one with the
what's the name?
with an ugly, the one with it's the owner of a lonely heart.
Yeah, but I forgot the name of the album.
That freaking album.
But you know, if you know Yes, you know. And Yes, for those of you who don't know, is one of the biggest names in prog rock music.
Best band ever.
He's a fantastic band, one of the best member by member band. They are all excellent musicians. All S-tier musicians. Compositionally speaking, they were nuts, but in the best of ways.
Yes.
They did crazy music, but they pulled it off.
Yeah, they were doing the Dream Theater thing, the 20 minutes long song before they were even born.
Yeah.
And damn, every single one of those masterpieces are masterpieces for a reason. My personal recommendation, At the Gates of Delirium. That song is simply beautiful. But also Close to the Edge.
Is excellent.
Yeah.
No, they have plenty of
so
gems.
many
They
great songs, man.
And they have Honor of a Lonely Heart.
Get there.
But then came the album with Honor of a Lonely Heart. I can't remember for the life of me the name of the album. If you know, please let me know in the comments.
I ignore it.
The thing is, that album, they clearly were tired of making great music that nobody listened to.
Yeah.
And they decided to make something that was not only a little bit more commercial, but full-on commercial.
Full-on commercial, no regards whatsoever for any form of integrity.
And the change is simply dramatic.
It's baffling.
Because their music has always been extremely highly crafted. When it comes in every single aspect, compositionally speaking, the instrumentalism was off the charts. And even though you saw some bits of it on that album, on the most part, they were trying to sell.
Yeah.
They were trying to sell, unapologetically
but
trying to sell.
They were trying to be Peter Gabriel while sucking.
And it didn't work.
No, it didn't work because for Honor of a Lonely Heart, think of the drum beat. Pa, pa, the sound. It's I'm gonna make it by Big Time.
Yeah.
By Peter Gabriel. It's exactly the same sound. The pa, pa. Because they were clearly trying to rip him off.
Yeah.
Because he was
doing that, but correctly.
but well done.
Yeah.
Awesomely.
But look, the thing with Yes, and that song in particular, Honor of a Lonely Heart, is kind of divisive because it's not necessarily a bad song. The thing is, it's not a Yes song.
No, it is
and
not.
And that's the point of content.
Yep.
Because for most of the people who enjoy Yes music, that's not Yes.
No.
Nobody's gonna say no. That's not the Yes. That was something happened.
Yeah.
And that song came out of a bathroom session.
Basically, because that reminds me of a little story that's actually real. I was dating this girl back in the day, and I met her parents, and the dad asked me, "Oh, she says that you're a musician." Yes, I am. Okay, let's see. What kind of music do you play? Rock. Okay. Do you know Yes? Of course. My favorite album is Relayer. That's not Yes. That was his answer. Yeah, he showed me. This is Yes. Like that freaking album, man. Like, no, and you call yourself a fan, and you're trying to shun on me just because I do know my Yes. Damn it.
No, and the worst part is, and that's where the thing becomes even a bigger point of content.
Yeah.
That song and that album,
yeah,
sadly became their most popular.
by orders of magnitude.
So
They have nothing closer to that as representative.
when it comes to popularity,
Yes.
yes, because even though they have a very consolidated sound, a very consolidated style, which all of the fans will agree that's anything before that,
Yeah.
that album is the one that actually got through to the masses.
Yeah, and I really can't remember the name. It has a number.
Let me look it up. Give me a
Yeah,
second.
please do,
Just
because-
keep talking.
Yeah, I'm gonna keep bashing. The thing is that jazz, it's such a, how can I describe it? I would use the word behemoth when it comes to the way that they produce their music and write it, because it's quite, it's kind of hippie sounding, kind of peaceful, because most of their music is very happy sounding, but also kind of gentle. Not like Gentle Giant, that's a different story. Great band. But it's not aggressive by any means, that's what I'm trying to say. And then Owner of a Lonely Heart shows up, and it's not only poppy, but also trying to be badass, but in a very dated way.
It didn't work.
No, it didn't. Did you get the name?
9125.
I knew that it was a freaking number.
Yeah.
Oh, even the name is awful.
Yeah, it's quite bad.
Yeah, but it's a terrible album. Even the cover is ugly.
It is.
It's boring looking. And if
Yeah.
you compare it to the beautiful artwork of the previous jazz records, Relayer, for example, such a masterpiece in every regard. The songs, the music is amazing, but also the artwork is just beautiful. You look at it like, what kind of the Lord of the Rings is this, man?
Yeah.
Because it does look like, no, it's Silmarillion. It's much more in that area,
Yeah.
like mythological stuff.
Kind of fantastical, but
But it's in gray and black and shades of beige. So it could be the worst.
yeah.
Color-wise, color palette is awful, but damn.
And look, when the case say yes, it's kind of sad to see because they are a band with such a legacy, because they still are, and they didn't lose it by any means.
Yeah.
But they are one of the most prominent names in prog rock music, and I think they will
In
always
rock in
be
general.
rock in general. But I think since they belong to a sphere that is less known than overall rock.
But dude, the thing is that prog used to be mainstream.
Yes, it was never
Yeah,
mainstream.
wait. Yesterday, have you ever heard of Mahavishnu Orchestra?
Yeah, have heard of it.
John McLaughlin. Great, stupidly complex early jazz fusion. Yesterday, I saw a video of them performing live at the BBC, broadcasted.
Okay.
Yeah, man. No, dude. History is different. What they try to convince you that is happening, what is that you live in, it's a lie. And it begins here.
Yeah.
Because culture was way better and way different back then. So yeah, jazz was mainstream, man. Because people could listen to that kind of music mainstreamly.
That's kind of you can't even fathom that nowadays.
No, it's not that. For someone to think that something like freaking I don't know, like a band producing a 20-minute song, becoming popular among the masses, it's incredibly stupid to think of.
Yeah.
But back then, yes, Genesis, Gentle Giant, freaking Bandograph Generator, King Crimson, Pink Floyd. Just saying.
Yeah, just name a few.
Even Led Zeppelin could be prog adjacent.
Yeah,
Adjacent.
it has its moments. It has its
It
moments.
has its moments.
Yeah.
Deep Purple,
Yes.
adjacent as well. Don't look at me, but you get my point. The music appreciation was way higher before, but that's a story for another day.
Yeah.
We're still talking about bands that changed.
Look, going on a tangent that's created by the phenomenon that happened with Yes.
Yes.
Because Yes is a band that had an oddball become what they were recognized for. Another band that comes to mind where that happened even more is Extreme.
Oh yeah, yesterday we were talking about them.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
on the most part, people recognize Extreme by their only gigantic hit,
Yeah.
Modern Words. It's a good track.
It's a beautiful song.
It's a beautiful song, but it's most definitely not a song that represents the sound
No.
of Extreme.
No.
And most people don't know that. They
Yeah.
think that everything by them is like that.
It's like that, yeah. Actually,
Yeah.
actually even back in the day, I remember watching an interview. I don't know if it was Nuno or the singer. Nuno Betancourt is a fantastic guitar player, such a great musician. And they were saying that it was the worst idea and the best of ideas to release that song as the first single,
Yeah.
because it granted them recognition among the masses, but also it gave them a lot of problems because people who were buying the records, they were buying the song. They weren't buying, and that's not right.
No, I went down the wrong pipe.
I'm just no, but people were actually buying the record, not the song, the record,
Yeah.
because the audience that gravitated towards More Than Words wasn't prepared for a badass hard rock band with all sorts of fantastic a la George Lynch guitar shenanigans a la Dokken.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's
I mean, their song, their music can be more easily called badass
yeah,
than it can be
heartfelt. Yeah, because More Than Words is a very heartfelt,
Yeah.
almost to the point of being cheesy, but it's just there. That's why everybody likes it because I could almost be as annoying as any Disney movie soundtrack, but I'm not.
Yeah, because it's good.
Because I'm good.
Yeah.
So
Disney soundtrack is also good.
no, but they are cheesy, man.
Yeah, they're cheesy.
No, big respect for the songs. But,
Yeah.
well, the one that Tony Underwear. I remember it being better. The other day we used it for a reference for something.
Yeah,
I always remember it being better sounding than it actually sounds. Not in the production side. I thought the song was better. Actually, I was kind of disappointed. But whatever. The one from The Lion King.
Yeah.
But that's a surprise. But they never changed.
Yeah, but that's the thing. I can easily see. I haven't seen this interview that you're mentioning, but I can easily see them regretting the whole thing with More Than Words because even though it put them on the spotlight, it was a huge success, and it still remains their biggest success.
Probably their only one.
It probably created quite a lot of constraints as well in the way that they could create their music because they stuck true to what their sound was afterwards.
Yeah.
But they never managed to reach that kind of success again.
Yeah, but the band it didn't last for that long. If I remember correctly, all of the band members went separate ways and became session musicians. Nuno Betancourt has been part of so many great records and also as a session musician.
Yeah.
And also he's been member of several other bands. I can't recall them right now, but why? Because the band itself, for as much as it was a good band, the sound that people thought was what they were producing wasn't there.
Yeah.
And that's an example of a band that didn't change, but it was incorrectly presented to the masses. But now taking us to something that actually changed.
Okay.
Freaking Eric Clapton.
Oh yes.
He went geriatric, full-on geriatric mode. Because give your take.
Look, Eric Clapton. If you don't know, and you have been living on a rock, and you don't know Eric Clapton, he's first known for being part of Cream. He's what? No.
Yardbirds. Yeah, he
Yeah,
was
yeah,
there.
yeah. The thing that Cream was bigger.
Yeah,
It was
yeah.
more
Because,
widespread.
I always get that part of history confused because also Jimmy Page is involved in that. You get me? Yeah. So for those who are watching, please correct us. But well, at least people know of Eric Clapton or realize that he was a thing with Cream.
Yeah, and that's where he made a big name for himself because Cream was big at their time. It was badass band, and Eric Clapton, the great guitar player, he's Lowhand Cal Clapton. He's known as. And he actually is one of the most influential guitar players up to this day.
100%.
Extremely influential,
100%.
both in sound and in style.
Everything,
really good.
everything. Every single one of us who decided to ruin their lives by buying a guitar have attempted to play something by him and had failed miserably at sounding like him. Or why? Because it's not just the speed, it's not just the precision, it's not the finesse. He truly knows how to make a guitar make you feel things, and that's the tricky part. And it's something that is not learned, it's something that it's raw, pure, and undisputed talent. And I say that because he ruined his own music later.
But look, on his case, is actually interesting because he has a very, very clear turning point.
Yeah.
That is a part of his story.
His life.
As a person, and then it was replicated into his music, translated into his music. And if you don't know what we're talking about, not going into a lot of details, but he had a very, very deep personal loss.
Yeah.
Talking about his son.
And one of the song that many people knows of him, Tears in Heaven, is about that particular situation.
Yeah.
Beautiful track, and when you know the story behind it, like, damn.
Yeah, and he changed.
He changed.
He changed right there and then.
The way that his semblance, man, his face,
Yeah,
changed dramatically. yeah, he's tarnished by what happened that day, and well, I cannot blame him, or well, I can only feel empathy, no more than that. But
in the realm of music, then he used to be a very aggressive guitar player. He had this kind of a
face fronting,
a lot of edge.
Gung ho.
Yes, and that edge was exactly what was lost with time.
Yeah.
Because he's a good musician. He knows his stuff.
He's still a great musician.
And he remains to this day good.
Yep.
But he lost basically all of his edge.
Yeah. For those of you who haven't or don't know why we're making such a claim, listen to Laila.
Mm-hmm.
The original version, and then listen to the rendition that became the popular one among basically everybody around, which is the one with in that very popular and famous
acoustic
unplugged.
Yeah,
it's an MTV Unplugged, if I remember correctly.
Yeah,
when MTV actually had music concert, and they changed. He truly lost the plot for that one. It sounds completely different, but not in an interesting way. It's a lame version. It's tamed. Everything edgy, powerful about it is lost, and it's not due to the use of acoustic guitars. That has nothing to do with it. There has been many examples of great acoustic songs that are powerful. It's not about the instrumentation. It's about the performance.
Yeah.
And in here, the arrangement, it's so different, but it's so purposely tame and watered down that, damn it, I hate that version for real.
Yeah.
Because that's the first one I heard as a kid. Very slow, like, this is boring. Then I listened to what the hell?
Look, I wouldn't call the acoustic version boring. I don't think it's a bad track. The thing is that when you have the comparison point of the other one, you can see why one is the OG and the other one is the version.
The geriatric.
Yeah, because it doesn't really retain the original feel of the song.
But it lost its feel. It's lost its edge. It's lost its flavor. Everything that made Light such a fantastic song that every kid learns on guitar.
Yeah.
I want to believe that. Yeah, why wouldn't you? Because that's a great way to learn harmony.
Yeah.
Actually on guitar. That's such a great track. You compare it to that one from the MTV Unplugged, which is not a bad song, man, because it's still there.
Yeah.
The issues that they change in everything is so dramatic, it's so uncalled for.
Yeah.
That's the problem,
Yeah,
because it's not needed. I get some songs that could be benefited of going on a different route. How many variants of Hallelujah by Leonard Cohen there are, and all of them are superior
to the original.
So, no, there are songs that actually get better.
Yeah.
This one, the one by Nine Inch Nails that everybody thinks that they like. I always forget his name for whatever reason. I can't remember his name. You know the old guy.
Yeah, but it's Twisted Game. No,
it's the
we'll get to it. It will come back to us.
Hurt. It's Hurt.
Hurt. Yeah.
No, the Twisted Game is the one is covered by him.
Yeah.
And somehow it's not terrible.
Yeah.
It's better. The original is better.
Yeah.
But him's version is actually. Yeah.
Not as awful as you.
No, it's bad. No, you like him. No, it's actually. But the original is the original. But yeah.
But yeah, Hurt. Yeah, there's a.
Yeah, Johnny Cash. Yeah, everybody. I love Johnny Cash. What's your first one?
Not even by him.
No, it's not even his.
But it's a great rendition. It is a great rendition.
It's the best version of the song.
Yeah.
But it's one of those rare examples on which a reimagining of the track actually works. But that was done as a tribute or as someone who liked the original and did his take.
Yeah.
That's very different. In here, we're talking about someone who wrote the track.
Yeah.
Created a masterpiece, created a song that actually it's remembered through the eons of time, and he comes back and says, "You know what? Let's do it geriatric because I'm sad." That's not the way to go.
Yeah, because he was just letting his own state of mind be seen through his music. But the thing is, since he was operating under the previous catalog, on that one I have to agree because I'm not necessarily. I like some of his newer stuff. Let's say some of the Tears in Heaven is a beautiful song.
No,
Even Old Love is a song that I like quite a lot. It's also from the new era.
That album, Reptile, is good.
Mm-hmm.
He has plenty of good music still, man. I'm not attacking him as a musician. I'm simply pointing at how much he changed,
Yeah.
and how much of that change is actually good or detrimental to his legacy.
Yeah.
Because I expect my musicians to keep evolving with time, because it's, for example, think of a band that begins their career when they were late teenagers, right? I don't know, or late 18.
Metallica.
You know, I'm talking about Blink-182.
Okay.
And then they are 20-something years later.
Mm-hmm.
They're still talking about the same topic.
Okay.
That's not evolving. That's bad. And that's something that I expect from them, because they have to keep moving forward in life.
Yeah.
And their music has to evolve, because also as a fan of their music, you are living your own life, and it's very good. At least that's what I see. It's very interesting to see how their life experiences and how they portray them through the use of music kind of correlates with what you experience as you grow up as well.
Yeah, different phases of life.
Different phases, and that's the beauty of music, right? And art in general. But when you have a band that is stuck in the same formula, because that's the one that sells, like Green Day, it's not. It even looks bad, man.
Yeah, nowadays it looks awful to see.
Cringy.
It's cringy. Seeing them on stage doing exactly the same in the
What's my age again? Exactly, man.
But 40 years later.
Yeah, it's very cringy.
Yeah.
And now talking of Metallica. Let me get a sip.
Did you get ready for this part of the conversation?
Okay. I love Metallica. It's my favorite band, probably. It was my favorite band as a kid. And I still have plenty of respect, huge appreciation for the music, but huge in you know how big, because a good chunk of who I am and my career choices, which has been not necessarily the best, are based on their music or inspired by their music. And I got introduced to them, and I have said it several times, by buying the album Metallica S&M. Symphonic, the one with the San Francisco Orchestra.
Yeah.
And I always say that it's a terrible Metallica album, but it's a great orchestral music album, because the orchestra kicks their ass badly. But one of the benefits of being introduced to the band through that album is that they actually played a lot of the back catalog. They covered a lot of music that wasn't current on the mainstream Metallica fan base, because I got introduced to them in the early 2000s. So everybody was on the bandwagon of Load and Reload. The old geezers, it was the Black Album, and everybody hated Saint Anger. But
Rightfully.
But the thing is that since I got introduced to Metallica by a compilation of their best material, or at least what they consider to be a good chunk of their best stuff, I got introduced to the Call of Cthulhu, Master of Puppets, Battery, all of the good tracks from the old albums. So instead of buying the newer stuff, I was like, okay, I listened to the Call of Cthulhu, and the orchestra is fantastic, but I want to see the original. So I went and bought, is it from Ride Lighting? I think it is.
Yeah.
And I was blown away. Damn! They're a great band? This is what I actually bought. I thought I bought ballsy, but extremely, because I could see the beautiful harmonies and the intelligent music and the intelligent compositions of this band of drunks, because they were known back then as Alcoholica. Actually, creating such an incredible, raw, punchy, visceral sounding music. And then I got Kill 'Em All, the first album. Wow! Even their first album is badass! There is no stinkers, actually. And the song that, according to Dave Mustaine, he wrote and he released as Mechanics, as a Megadeth song, in Metallica's is the Four Horsemen. That's where the whole thing of the Horseman comes from. My favorite Metallica song ever. The riff is badass, man. And Dave Mustaine claims compositional rights over that one, but that's a discussion for another day. But then I said, okay, let's give it a go because Fuel is a badass, stupid song, short, straight to the point. So I got Reload. Damn. Okay, this could be the stinker album because I have listened to, at that point I listened to everything that wasn't released after the 90s. So I was quite aware of the sound of the band.
Yeah.
This is bad. But it could be the stinker. They had to suck at one point, man. Then I went for the Black Album. Yes. Yes, this is Metallica, but louder. And also, not insane. It's that thing sounds... It's its own thing.
Yeah, it's the Black Album.
It's the Black Album.
Sounds like
it's
Black
the sound of Black Album, right? Yeah. But it's a fantastic album. And I could see, okay, this is a much more accessible version of Metallica. Like it.
But it still has what makes Metallica great.
Yeah, this is a good introduction. I realized that this could have been a great way to get into Metallica, right? Let's buy Load. God damn it, was a load of shirt. Yeah, awful. And then they had the balls to release Saint Anger. And I'm like, okay, I'm gonna give it a try to Garage Inc. It's covers. Yeah. They have a badass rendition of Sabra Cadabra by Black Sabbath, and also a badass rendition of Whiskey in the Jar by... Where is a traditional Irish song?
Yeah, that's old.
But they actually are using Thin Lizzy's version
as a starting point.
As the starting point. Yeah. And it's basically a Thin Lizzy cover. And actually, no, it's not heretical. I prefer Metallica's rendition of the track.
You do? I prefer Thin Lizzy's.
Because I like the... that, but it's because I'm loud. So,
yeah.
Because Thin Lizzy is exactly the same, but a little bit less stupid.
I think Thin Lizzy's version is a little bit truer to the sentiment of the song.
It is. It's almost like listening to that song at a pub.
Yeah. Which is the context.
It's the idea. It's the idea.
And I think they managed to incorporate that quite nicely into their rendition. Because the song probably is old as balls.
Yeah, it's very old.
Yeah, and I think the Thin Lizzy managed to get that feel of simply getting drunk at a pub.
Yeah, but with electric guitars.
Yeah. Because it has I think it's a good blend of badass and getting drunk at a pub. Yeah. And I think Metallica's is more badass and less getting drunk at a pub. Even though they got drunker at pubs.
Yes. Yeah, they were better drunks. Yes, so... And Metallica kept changing with time. But in the bad way. It took them all the way down to Death Magnetic. And I, for one, will defend those albums. Death Magnetic, Hardwired to Self-Destruct, and the last one, the yellow one, I can't remember the name right now. They're good albums. Are they fantastic? No.
Yeah, they're not in the same league as the earlier great stuff.
Yeah, but I think it's because this is where the question begins. Let me first draw the line.
Yeah.
I clearly consider early Metallica to be the superior Metallica, okay? And for those of you who hate everything after Black Album, or even the Black Album itself, I feel you, I get you, I'm with you.
I think hating on the Black Album is
but
just
I have
purism.
Yeah, but I understand your position. In my perspective, I truly like the Black Album. I have no gripes with it, but I can see where the hate comes from because it's the marking point. Is where everything changed.
Yeah, when it starts to...
Yeah, the decline begins there. Began there. Now, I think that Metallica has been unfairly analyzed today due to the bad rep that they developed during the 90s, early 2000s. Not only by the quality of the music being released during that era, but also their antics. Because I don't know if you are old enough to remember Lars Ulrich and his tantrums regarding MP3 files and file sharing and stuff.
Yeah, I saw it post.
It was bad, man.
Yeah,
it was bad because he had a point, but the whole thing was terrible. He was always on MTV News every freaking day because MTV was the only channel that I actually watched. You mind that?
At that time, whether they actually had.
But they had music, man.
Yeah.
and he was always there. That's why I remember. As a kid, I was like, who's that guy? Ah, it's the Metallica guy. Okay. Ay! Dash.
Pitching once again.
Yeah, it's keeping up with the same stuff. And I think a good chunk of the bad rep that the band totally deserved comes from that.
Yeah.
And they are not given a fair chance when it comes to releasing new music because people are still mad at them due to everything they did 20 years ago. You're saying. And if you truly give a chance to those albums, they're going to be actually, particularly in my opinion, out of the batch, Hardwired is the best one. They have, in that one, there are some sections and some songs. I'm not into the flame. The one with, even the version that they got with Lady Gaga, I know. I know. The song is good, man. It has plenty of Merciful Fate moments, and I love Merciful Fate, King Diamond. Falsettos. And Metallica is very inspired by Merciful Fate. They happen to be huge fans.
Yeah.
And
It shows.
It shows. It
Yeah,
shows.
yeah.
And that album has plenty of Merciful Fate-isms throughout the entirety of the whole thing. And I loved it. I think it's a great album. Is it as good as Master of Puppets? Arguably.
Don't think so, but
Let me explain. The thing is that Master of Puppet has best songs, better songs. Probably the best in Metallica's career.
Yeah.
But as an album, and that's something that I have always had fights with people about or around, I think Metallica is a great band, but they have a very big problem when it comes to consistency in the whole album.
Yeah.
Because they don't know how to assemble, in my opinion.
Yeah.
They have a problem with, they write so many good songs, but they don't know how to put them together.
Yeah. Interestingly enough, when looking at albums as albums, one of their best is Kill Them All.
Yes, because
Well,
it's
it's
that
the
one
most consistent, I think.
is the first one, and it's the one that actually knows you don't feel that any of the songs are out of place.
Yeah, exactly.
Everything goes correctly, and even though it's balls to the wall, stupid trash metal, you never get tired.
Yeah, because even I don't think it has their best songs.
No.
It has some of their best, but it doesn't have their best
I agree,
songs.
I agree.
But as an album, I think it's the most consistent
Which
they
one
have.
do you think is the best compendium of songs?
What the best what?
Compendium of songs. Which one do you think has the best songs as an album? As a Metallica album.
Look, I think the most consistent album they have is the Kill Them All. But I think the album that has the most gems,
Yes.
and the true fans are gonna hate me for it,
Black
but I think
Album.
it's the Black Album. Because I think the highlights of that album are simply undeniably great.
Yeah, they are very good. Because I'm thinking of Salvatore.
Yeah.
Hilarious.
Yes, it's a fantastic song.
It is, but compared to Injustice for All, for as much as it has no bass, the consistent.
Style of the times.
No, it was the style of those guys. That album is always a hard listen because it has no bass. The songs are great, but the lack of bass is like But at the same time, I have a problem with that album because it has one of their most renowned songs.
Yes.
I for one happen to be up to here with it.
It's not a bad song.
No, I love it, and it was one of the songs that actually showed me that I could use an acoustic guitar. A clean guitar tone in a heavier sounding track.
Yeah.
As a kid, my problem is not with the song.
It's the whole mythology.
The mythology behind it.
And especially the whole thing with the symphonic version of it, because people praise that one.
I mean, you know what's cringe? They sing it, tang 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 tang. They sing along it.
Oh yeah.
Man, that's cringe. That's cringe.
Yeah, let people have fun.
No, that's cringe.
No, look. One is a good song, but I don't think it's one of their best. I think it's one of their most successful ones.
Oh, it is by orders of magnitude.
But no, I don't think it's one of their best.
No, but the album as a whole has a good chunk of bangers, and I think it's the one that has the best songs in an album, containing one album by Metallica. Because if you're gonna go straight for the stuff that is full on consistent, yeah, Black Album, 100%.
Yeah.
Is the album that is full on consistent. There is no song that feels out of place, and all of them, you play the album from start to finish with no pedals.
Yes.
The biggest problem with the older albums is that this song is not bad, but I don't know what it's doing here.
Yeah.
And they kind of become a little bit tiresome.
Yeah, but look, the thing with Black Album, I do think it's quite a lot of purism involved in the hate for the Black Album, because I can see why the true fans, or the so-called true fans, kind of hate on it because it's the beginning of the decline. But objectively speaking, it's a good album.
Yeah, but let's move over to something different.
Yeah.
How about bands that changed for the best?
Okay.
Which one comes to mind?
Porcupine Tree.
Okay.
I mentioned it yesterday.
Elaborate on it.
And look, Porcupine Tree, for those of you who are not aware, is a prog rock band that started off in the 80s, but honestly they are a modern...
90s.
They are a 90s band, basically, and they are...
Mid-90s.
The thing is, that's exactly the point of contempt. They started off in the 80s. Steven Wilson was the guy behind the band, and he started off in the late 80s.
Great musician.
Great musician. The first albums of the band, they were extremely atmospheric, extremely sound designy and artistic in nature.
They were, how can I describe it? I always bring those guys back, more Shiva-like.
Yeah, and not bad music by any means. It's not bad.
It's more on the atmospheric side of things.
And honestly, the way I see it, and if you disagree, well, you're entitled to it, even though you're wrong.
Yeah, that's a
but I think their music didn't really go anywhere at that point in time. It wasn't bad music. It was good sound design. Steven Wilson's a great producer. He's a great man, many things actually. He's a very multi-talented individual.
Especially and back then, especially considering the technology he had access to.
Yeah.
The budget involved. It's impressive what he did.
It's impressive on that front, but honestly, when looking at as songs, I don't think they were good songs because they didn't really take you places, you know. But that's just my view. You're entitled to disagree. Later on, I think starting off with the what was it? Fear of a Blank Planet? No.
No, man, that's
no, from before. Which one is that? Is the 2002 one?
Deathwing? No, that's 2006.
It's the one before.
Lightbulb Sun.
Lightbulb Sun. I think Lightbulb Sun was the beginning of the change.
No, the change happened even earlier, man, with in Abstention.
Abstention isn't in after. I'm trying.
No, it's before.
It's messing up my
mind.
It's
before Lightbulb Sun, because Lightbulb Sun, that album has plenty of the Britpop stuff that was very huge at the time due to the success of Oasis and Blur.
Mm-hmm.
And Abstention is earlier than that. I think that guy is released in '97. And that album has plenty of the Porcupine Tree-isms.
No, I think In Absentia was already with Gavin Harrison. I think it was in the 2000s. I think he joined.
No, man. That album is from the '90s, late '90s.
Okay.
So, and when in Lightbulb Sun, the music adopted plenty of the cliches of the Britpop, the British Invasion, for those of you who might remember it, of the early 2000s. Elements, but in a super prog-like style. That's why you got songs like Trains, Every Home Is Wired, that had plenty of those kind of catchy acoustic-like things. That in mine, Wonderwall, bad
but good.
No, Wonderwall is a good song, but it's annoying.
The thing that's overplayed.
It's annoying, but it's not a bad song by any means.
No, it's not.
It's actually a good song. He has all of those things. Even Coldplay, you can see a little bit of Coldplay elements in those Porcupine Tree records.
Kind of the soft atmospheric rock.
It's the pop, it's the Britpop stuff from that era.
Yeah.
And it delivers. It works beautifully and in a very intelligent way. And that album allowed them to get momentum, and they actually released several more albums. Fantastic music. Deathwing is, by many people opinion, their best album. I happen to disagree.
Do you? I do think it's a great album.
Yeah, but I haven't heard the perfect Porcupine Tree album in my opinion. Because even though Deathwing has many of the great songs, it has arrived in somewhere, right?
Yes.
But the next one, which is not a good album in my opinion, Fear of a Blank Planet, has freaking
Anesthetized.
And
that's probably their best, or one of their best songs.
It is one of their best. So that track, it's because they are that good that I am waiting for them to release something that has those songs. You get me?
Yeah,
The
yeah.
equivalent to Time Flies, but the short version,
Yeah, yeah.
not the self-indulgent one, as part of the repertoire.
Mhm.
Something that has those great moments, because that one is great. But it's me. It's clearly me, because I'm waiting for them to release their masterpiece. If that makes sense. It's me. It's the fanboy inside that is clamoring for that one. You know that they can do it. You're
Well,
just
look,
waiting.
the new album, I can't recall the name of the new album, but the new album was actually very good.
It's very good. It's very good as well.
And it was a comeback because they were
they were in hiatus for 10 years.
yes, and I didn't have my hopes up when it comes to the new album. Being really honest, because it was
Why?
too big of a stop. In the meanwhile, we saw Steven Wilson going many places. Some of them good, some of them sucky. And
Yeah, actually.
so honestly, I didn't have my hopes up when it comes to that album, but I liked it quite a lot.
That's a very good album.
It's a very good album.
Totally recommended. I forgot the name right now, but
Yeah.
it's great.
Yeah, I can't recall the name as well.
Great, the cover, but it's actually it's a very good piece of music, a very compendium of music, and the songs are fantastic.
Yeah.
But that's a band that actually got huge benefits out of changing.
Yeah, he did. He did indeed.
What will be another one?
Let me see. Well, benefits is a very generalized way to put it, because for instance, we mentioned it passingly here, but Coldplay, you talked
Yeah.
about it, and Coldplay is a band that changed quite dramatically. Not talking about a more poppy sphere, but Coldplay used to be a good band.
I like them.
Their first two albums were really good. Their first album was excellent.
I prefer the second one, but both of them are fantastic.
Yeah.
Actually, no, wait. I will correct what I just said.
Parachutes is the first one.
I prefer that one
Yeah.
as an album, but I like the songs on the second one better.
Oh, okay.
Get me? Because
yeah.
it has better. It had songs that as a whole, Parachutes is a better album. But A Rush of Blood to the Head
Yeah.
has better songs. But it's not as a good as a great album as
I agree.
Parachutes.
I agree. But and then after that, they started to go on a completely different route, and yeah, just coming back to the word that you benefited. They did benefit from changing,
Yeah.
quite dramatically. When it comes to money in their pockets, when it comes to fame,
Rich.
reach, well, they benefit quite a lot. But we as listeners, we suffered from it because
And it's
they're
been 20 years of that, and humanity has regressed so many decades. I don't know how many. Just because of those guys are still around, they're releasing their stupid, awful music.
Because look, I for one don't really like the way that the word sellout is used for most of the time, because I think that musicians they are music is a career.
It's a business.
It's a business, and you do it for, well, of course, for your own personal reasons, but you do it for money as well.
Yeah,
You do it to
You have something to offer to the world. Charge for it.
Yep. So no, you won't find any argument from me on that reaction. But of course, there's some lines that when you cross that particular line, I see the use of the word sellout.
Yeah, it's too much.
And on the case of Coldplay, that I don't think I would bear the word sellout any ill use, because I think it's properly applied there.
Yeah, no, it's way too much.
Because they showed us what they were capable. They showed us the potential of their music in the very first album,
Alright.
and further on,
They simply forgot.
you never saw anything like it again.
Never.
In a very long career with quite a lot of output,
Yeah.
and you never saw it again.
Yeah, it's one of those bands that actually got ruined with time. For example, I was listening yesterday as well to Foreigner, and what a great band.
Mm-hmm.
But also, I was thinking of how much the sound of music has changed. Because you got it was what's the name of the black one where the big hit is Person of Interest, I think is the name of the album.
Yeah, well, that one I'm not.
No, is the black is the black one where I wanna know what love is.
Yeah.
Is there? And I was listening to that, and if you listen to that album today, you will think of it like, yeah, it sounds like soft rock, but I was thinking this was considered kind of hard rock. But why? I don't know. It's simply segue, but it's because when you were mentioning Coldplay and how much they influence other people, for the good and for the bad.
Yeah.
It reminds me of those bands from the 80s that got a very dated sound, and they had to evolve given the beginning of the next decade. you got examples such as, and it's what happened to many bands from the 70s to the 80s. How many of the 80s bands made a successful transition to the 90s after grunge?
Not many.
No, man.
Not many.
Most of them died.
Yeah.
Because what happened to Blondie, for example, huge band during the late 70s, early 80s, they kind of faded away.
Yeah.
Also,
The thing is that the generationally speaking, things changed quite dramatically in between those 2 decades.
Yeah.
Because we're not talking about a huge span of time, but socially speaking, culturally speaking, the change was
musically
huge.
speaking, just the whole thing with grunge, from our perspective, is we look at it as, well, it's obvious, it's just another genre of music. It wasn't back then. Because it truly was a movement against all of the excesses of the so-called music industry, while at the same time they got Nirvana and they're totally not that, but wherever, not an instrument, wherever.
Yeah.
But the whole thing was about apathy and this regard for those who decided what was the good music of the day. You can attach a little bit of the whole Satanist craze that happened during the 80s with Dungeons and Dragons and stuff. And this grunge movement was kind of a reaction, culturally speaking, to that overzealous Reagan era conservative movement. And it changed many things. Because most of what those bands promoted was not necessarily at a cultural level the same as the bands from the 80s. And the audience gravitated towards more to that because I wasn't there, but from here I could see. I wonder what they had to do to change the perspective of Whitesnake being the coolest cat ever to be, that's so lame. How Twisted Sister, all of those guys, how they became lame in 5 years, man.
And that's actually interesting because it's not just about moving on to liking something new. They actually started to develop a little bit of a dislike, an active dislike to some of the stuff that came previously.
People hate it. Great guitar tone in the early 90s.
Yeah.
You see all of those guys flocking over fuzzies, but just to crank them up and looking for the worst sounding fuzz pedal.
Yeah, that's why in the 90s, Guns N' Roses
was hated.
Was kind of hated. The Nirvana crowd, for instance, had a huge gripe with the Guns N' Roses crowd.
Why?
For some reason.
But jealousy. It's pure jealousy. No, man, but just think about it. And that's, it might be a decision during those transitional periods. And being the music business the way it used to be back then, on which you either sell or die, let's try. And they failed because it was going against the grain. What happened to Pink Floyd? Love Pink Floyd. One of the 3 bands that have turned me to the man I am right now, for the good, for the bad. But that's what it is. And
but look, actually,
those albums are awful.
Pink Floyd fits right into this conversation because actually Pink Floyd has very defined phases. Before we even get to that one that you're talking about, they have a very clear change in the very beginning.
Yeah.
Because Pink Floyd wasn't started by David Gilmour.
No.
Which is now basically the face of Pink Floyd in many ways. But Pink Floyd started off with Syd Barrett ahead of the bandwagon.
And playing psychedelic rock, not rock.
And Pink Floyd started off as a psychedelic rock band, and it was extremely psychedelic. And their sound did change quite a lot, even from the first album to the second.
Yeah, but the change, the actual progression to the point on which they were the Floyd, took several albums, almost a decade of sucking.
Yeah.
Well, not sucking.
No, look, I think that's harsh. That's harsh.
It's a little bit too much. No.
I for one do like the Syd Barrett era.
It's only one album, that's not an era.
It is an era because he started off.
It's just an album.
It is an era.
No, an era is several albums in a row.
The thing is, it is an era because Pink Floyd got recognition enough to be already consolidated at the Syd Barrett era. They were recognized as a psychedelic rock band, consolidated enough for the change to be noticed.
But they weren't big.
No, they weren't huge, but they were big enough.
They weren't big. Man, at that point, getting a deal with a label. It was as hard as it has always been, but it was more common for more far out acts. That's why you got so many great bands back from that era.
Yeah.
Because the people with the money were actually investing in trying to see what could be the next Beatles.
Yeah, the next
So
big
everything that could have a potential following or had a tiny following, let's put some money on it. It might be the one. And that doesn't mean that they had a career, man. And you can clearly see that after the first album, a Piper Full of Secrets, a Piper at the Gate of Dawn.
Yes.
It's
a good album.
It is, but it's not prog rock. It's psychedelic rock. Then you see the Saucer Full of Secrets and all of the different albums in between that album and metal.
Yeah.
And the sound, it's a mess, and then it's metal.
The thing is that those albums, I think we're talking about Obscured by Clouds.
Yes.
Soulful
Atom Heart Mother.
And Atom Heart
Guma
Mother.
Guma.
They were transitional albums. That's the way I see it, basically.
Yeah, but dude, it's like saying that puberty took for Pink Floyd 10 years. It wasn't just a phase; it was a lifestyle.
Look, I might be defending out of enthusiasm for the band. It might be there might be some objectivity there.
At least the objectivity comes from the fact that you accept that you're not objective at
exactly.
all. Wherever.
Look, I think David Gilmour, which was a big turning point for the band, was the left of Sid Barrett, Sid Barrett leaving, and David Gilmour coming in. I think David Gilmour tried to be respectful to the original sound, the original aesthetics of the band in the beginning. That's why we have that transitional period. I think they were trying to make music that still follow the lines that was set by Sid Barrett, but the thing is, musically speaking, David Gilmour and Sid Barrett couldn't be further from one another. So that's why I think those albums are not exactly fantastic. They're good albums. I like some stuff from Source Full of Secrets. I like some stuff from Obscured by Clouds, but it's far from their best material. And I think it's because there was a clash there of David Gilmour trying to be who he was, musically speaking, and at the same time trying to respect what Pink Floyd was supposed to be, because of the legacy of Sid Barrett.
I'm gonna use my cynical outlook.
Go.
I think they were lucky enough to have got a contract that allowed them to keep throwing stuff to the wall until something stick.
I'm trying to look at it from an artistic perspective.
And being frank, and having done this band thing for so many years now, more than I've been. You start to see patterns, and you start to see, yeah, they are sucking right now. Why? They don't have a sound. They don't have a synergy between them. They're just playing just because they like. Sure, they're just doing it because it's fun. There is no commitment because there is no direction in the music that they're producing, and you hear it. It's palpable. But from time to time, there are signs of greatness, and you can see it happening. But it needs time, it needs evolution, it needs experience for it to be developed to the point on which it will flourish. And the people with the money that were backing up Pink Floyd at that time, they saw it. This is a mess. But this point, and this point is a sign of what is yet to come.
Yeah.
And when they release metal, boom, we're about to hit it big. And what happens next? Hot Topic hasn't stopped selling those freaking leggings ever since they got the rights to them. Dark Side of the Moon. Am I wrong? No. So, dude, look, the guys with the money saw the greatness coming. They just knew that let these kids fail because they will succeed. And when they do, then they did.
I think.
Am I wrong? You're laughing because you're right.
You might be.
Nah.
But I don't know if I'm way too attached to the image of the Floyd. But I think it was just them trying to...
Fanboyism.
Look, they showed us aspects of greatness. Because for instance, Fat Old Son is a song that I love. The great song out of the Atom Heart Mother. From before, I can't recall the names now, but they had gems that showed us Pink Floyd in all of those albums from the transitional period. I think they were just finding their footing because the band went through a very rough transition because it was very critical, the change of having the frontman, the lead everything of the band leaving, and the band was kind of left without any form of grounding. So I think
you're falling for the psyop.
let me perpetuate the mythology.
Damn
Come
it.
on.
They were suffering. Come on, man.
Not they. I won't say that
Just-
they were
just-
suffering.
just-
they were
just-
finding their ground.
Yeah, of course. But don't come to me like, oh, it was tough, dude. They are being paid to play the guitar and suck at it. Come on.
They weren't sucking at it.
No, they weren't good, man. They weren't good either.
That's way too harsh. They were good.
No, they weren't good.
They just now looking from this perspective.
I'm
nowadays-
experimenting. Oh, damn it.
Nowadays we can look back and we know how great Pink Floyd can be because we've listened to we listened to Animals, we listened to Wish You Were Here, we listened to some of the best of their stuff.
That makes
At
the
that
investors.
time-
That makes the investors the real heroes of the story.
Some hopeful.
That was a guy with vision, man.
Yeah.
That guy had balls of steel.
But look, it's easy to say from this perspective because we look back, we know their great stuff. At that point in time, we just knew what it was out already, and it was good. It wasn't as good as what came later, but it was good.
Just remember that they were competing for airwave space with Creedence, Led Zeppelin, Deep Purple. Should I continue?
You can if you want.
No, man. So, do you truly believe that they could hold a candle against those guys? No, but the guys behind them were like, dude, they will. Trust me, bro.
Trust me, bro.
and when they finally released The Dark Side of the Moon, nah, you owe me twice.
Yeah, that's vision.
Yeah, it's vision, not for real. Because as a fanboy now, even in those albums that I like to always make fun of, I don't make fun of them. I'm simply pointing at the obvious. You could see greatness.
Mm-hmm.
You could see that Pink Floyd is already there. Since the very beginning, you can see those moments of, wow, this band's gonna be great. It's gonna. And you listen to those albums, and it's even fun as a fan to see how they were so different. And each album takes you closer and closer and closer and closer to that point. Mm-hmm. That moment of apotheosis on which, damn, this is it. And they did it. And when you reach metal, that's the turning point because you clearly see that they actually finally crafted the sound.
Yeah.
It doesn't have the same amount of great songs as Animals, Wish You Were Here,
Yeah.
or Dark Side of the Moon has, but the sound also, it's already finally there.
Yeah.
Everything from the beginning to the end, the sound of the drums, the production, the orchestration, the utilization of the different elements that the band had access to at the time, which allowed for the Dark Side of the Moon to become what it is.
Mm-hmm.
It's experience. So they needed to grow. We had this discussion about Dream Theater as well.
Mm-hmm.
The first album doesn't suck. It was immature. It's an album that is not at the same level as Images and Worth. And if you see the time gap between one and the other,
Yeah.
the first to the second is almost 5 years.
Yeah.
So many things happens there.
They were getting their shit in order.
Yeah, they were kids when they released the first album, and it shows. But you could see moments of greatness.
Yeah, the talent was there already.
Yeah, and you could see that they had the substance as well, not only proficiency.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
everybody can play an instrument proficiently if they put the time on it. But the songs, they feel a little bit rushed because they were huge fans of Rush. They are. No, but actually they feel a little bit not polished. And that time gap between when Dream and Day Unite, which is the first album, and Images and Words, paid dividends
Yeah, it did.
greatly, because they actually amassed and developed the sound that they were actually looking for.
Agreed.
Because as a musician, you are looking for a sound in your head. You know how it sounds like, but you don't know how to do it. And that comes in the form of sound crafting, but also in the form of song structure, because you have an idea and you have a sentiment that you would like to portray with alongside that idea through the use of an audible medium, which is music. But you know the ways to do it, and sometimes you think more than you should, or you feel more than you should as a musician. So the music you produce sometimes is way too cerebral, which is boring, or way too self-indulgent, which is overly sentimental and is boring as well. And you need to find the balance between the two, and that's the tricky part. And that only comes with experience. Right?
Yeah, the thing on the case of Dream Theater, I don't think it was a case of a band changing dramatically. I think from the beginning, it was simply they weren't there yet, but later on we got the same but better because it wasn't necessarily different.
No, it's just
It was all there.
It's properly done now.
Yeah, it was all there, but now done,
done.
to excellence.
Yes. Well done, and with the final sound that they had in their heads.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's how I see it. That's why music has to change. That's why it should be expected and welcomed.
Yeah.
But the line has to be quite well defined.
Yeah.
Because you got acts such as the ones that people always like to say that they never change. For example, Iron Maiden, AC/DC, Rod Stewart. All of them, like they are.
But Iron Maiden does change.
Even AC/DC changes, man.
Well,
No, even they do it, but not as correctly. Iron Maiden, I can see why people will say that they don't change that much, but they do change. They do change, but not necessarily that much.
But I do think that natural progression of maturing in their music. I think.
No, it's quite palpable, and
it's not transforming into something.
It's not
else.
transformational. It's evolutionary, and especially in the way that the compositions are written, you can see the passing of time in maturity, execution, effortlessness, for lack of a better term, and that's what should be expected from any artist in general. Life keeps progressing forward, and if you're stuck in the same mentality and in the same emotional state, that means that you're not growing as a person, and that will translate into your art, and your art won't mean anything to anyone because it's clearly the result of somebody who doesn't understand how reality actually works. Period.
So with that very deep, profound statement,
Yes.
I think we can call an end to this conversation.
Yeah.
It has been fun. But I think we covered quite a lot of ground.
But there are more bands to cover, man.
There's
We
so many
only
more.
we derailed a little bit, and we spent way too much time on Metallica because
Pink Floyd.
because Metallica deserves several live streams just talking about him because they are so. There's so many great and bad things about him, but that's for another day because
Because they're a very controversial band and it's not for free.
they earn everything.
Every single controversy.
Everything coming at them from the good and the bad, yeah, it's theirs.
But okay,
With that being said,
with that
thanks,
being
Tom.
said, if you like this kind of conversations and would like to be part of more conversations like this one, I invite you to subscribe to our channel, ring the bell, that way you can be notified whenever we do this. And outside of that, if you want to help us even further, the channel and everything, one way to do it is listening to our music on Apple Music or Spotify, and another way to do it is by following us on social media such as Instagram and X. And outside of that, is there anything else to be said?
Yeah, just remember that you should never let anybody tell you what to dream about, and remember that Pink Floyd wasn't that good at the beginning. And we'll see you when we see you.